Hello everyone, today we're learning Mציעא, Daf Mem Zayin. We're going to start from Mem Vav and base from the last line. Said the Gemara, Omar Rabba, Omar Rav Huna Mechorli Be'elu. If Reuben comes to Shimon and tells him, sell me this item for the money I have in my hand, and Shimon doesn't know how much money there's in Reuben's hand, and he says, okay. So what's the din? Kono. Once Shimon takes this money, Reuben's koine the chayfetz of Shimon, even if he doesn't do Meshicha, and we're going to soon see why. If the money that he has in his hand is not significant to the value of the item he's buying, he could say, you did I know, you sold me an item for the wrong price. Says the Gemara, why? Kono. Even though that there was no Meshicha on the item, Kevin Deloy copied, because he wasn't makbid on the amount of money that was involved, so it's like Chalipin. And soon we're going to ask, L'chara mois, there's no mois on Chalipin, but now we understand that it's Chalipin. And the reason why there's a no, because the mocher li be'elu komar, because he said the losha mechira, and by mechira there's a no. Komali. Rav Abba Omar Rav Huna. Rav Abba says in Shem Rav Huna, mecher li be'elu kona. He agrees that the kinyan works. Ve'en lo yolo no, because he wasn't makbid to check how much money it is, so there's no dinner no. Says more. Pshita domi ve'in makbid olem. If someone gives someone money and you know makbid how much it is, hokarmin and the koni, the chalipim domi. We just said that it works. That's like chalipim. Chalipim makbid alein. What's the din if someone's trying to do a kinyan chalipin? Someone's changing a swap. Let's say a donkey for a cow, but he's not makbid to see the value of the donkey or the value of the cow. What's the din? Do we say that if it's not the right value, it's not good kinyan? Amar Rav Adabar Ava Toshma, come and listen. Aryeh oyo toifes perosoi ve'oimed. Someone went to the market with his cow, and his friend comes and tells him, V'amar lo peros choloma, what are you doing here with your cow? So he tells him, Lechamara nitzorich. He says, I want to sell this cow and buy a donkey. So he tells him, Yesh li chamar, I have a donkey. Shani noifen lecho. I'll give you the donkey. Peroscha bekamo. How much is the value of your cow? He says, Bekach vekach, this and this amount. Chamorcha bekamo. So the other guy tells him, how much is your donkey worth? He says, Kach vekach, it's worth this and this much. Moshach ba'ala chamoris aparo. The owner of the donkey did meshicha on the cow. V'lo yispik ba'ala aparo l'mshicha sechamor. The other guy didn't do Meshicha on the donkey. Ad shemeisa chamor, and the donkey died. Loi kono bala chamor sapara. The kinyan didn't work. The chalipin doesn't work, even though the one did Meshicha. Normally, once one did Meshicha, chalipin's koine b'chol mokum shem. Shema mino. What do we see from here? Chalipin makbid aleim, because he was makbid to ask what's the value of the cow and what's the value of the donkey. Loi kono. You're not koine until both do Meshicha. Says the Gemara, Omar Rava, Otu Chalipim Beshuftone Askinan. When the Torah told us that Chalipim work, is it talking about crazy people, Deloy Kapti, that they know makbid the value? They just say, okay, I'll swap wherever the value is. It doesn't make any sense. Elo, Kol Chalipim Mikbid Kapti. For sure, when someone does Chalipim, he's makbid on the value. The Kona, and you koina, even though that you makbid how much the value is, once you do Meshicha on one of the items, you koina. And over here, what we're talking about, that in the Brisa where it says the kinyan zochal, the omale that he said, I'll give you my donkey for the cow, and also give me a baby sheep. And he did meshicha on the cow, and he didn't do meshicha on the sheep. Because he didn't do the proper chalipin. You have to do a full meshicha on the full item that one of them is taking, and since he only did a meshicha on the cow and not on the tole, and therefore it's not a proper chalipin, and therefore if the donkey died, the kinyan is no chal. Omar, we learned just before, that if I gave money without knowing how much money it is for item the kinyan schal veyesh lo elo v'no, but he could complain if the money is not the right value for the item. Lema sovar Rav Huna lecher, Rav Huna holds matbea nase chalipin. You could do chalipin with a coin because here he gave him coins, and we could say he works. Says the Gemara, no, Rav Huna sovar like Rabbi Yochanan. Rav Huna holds like Rabbi Yochanan. The Omar who holds dvar lugination on the base dvar Torah mois koines. Really, midoraisa, when I give someone money for items, straight away the item becomes mine. Why did we say in the first Mishnah in Azor Meshicha Koina, the Meshicha's Koina and Mois Einum Koinos? Gzeira, we learned this early on, Shema Yomer Loi Nisr Fuchitecha Ba'aliyah. He's going to say if Reuben gave Shimon money and for wheat, and Shimon and the Kinyan Schal straight away, and Shimon has the wheat still by him, and a fire is going to occur, so Shimon is not going to protect the wheat because he doesn't care, it belongs to Reuben. So Rabbanon made the gzera that mois einum koinos. So milsa the shchicha, in a case where it's shchiach like a normal kinyan when you're buying with money, goes through Rabbanon that mois einum koinos. Milsa the lo shchicha, in a case where it's not common, like in our case where you gave money without seeing how much the value is, how much money it is, like goes through Rabbanon. There's no such gzera that mois einum koinos. So therefore, when Rav Huna said over here, the mois. When Rav Huna said Mecharli be'elu kona, the reason is not because chalipin. The reason is it's within mois or mois einum koines, but it's milsa de lo shchicha, and milsa de lo shchicha lo goes to berabonon. Omali mar Huna breder of Nachman Rav Ashi atun ochim asnisin lo. You learn it like this, and you have a suffix. Does Rav Huna say his din Mecharli be'elu kona midin chalipin? And Rav Huna holds matbea nase chalipin, or maybe no, because it's not shchiach, and he holds like Rabbi Yochanan and milsa de lo shchicha lo goes to Rabbanon. Anon, we learn it differently. The Chein Omar Rav Huna said clearly with the list of the Amoraim early on who hold matbea not kona. Rav Huna says ein matbea nase chalipin. Matbea does not work in chalipin. So why over here does it work? It must be because of the din of Rabbi Yochanan, because midiraisa mois koinos, and in a case where it's not shchiach, loy gosu berabonon. And therefore we don't have a suffix. What's pshat in Rav Huna? Is it because matbea and it's chalipin, or is it because it's loy shchiach? No, it must be because it's loy shchiach, because we know Rav Huna holds matbea and einu nase chalipin. Sadik mor b'ma koinim. In a case of Chalipin, Reuven gives Shimon an item, and Shimon's item becomes Reuven's. Whose item? Okay, I explained that Reuven gives Shimon an item, but in general, Chalipin, how does it work? Does Reuven give Shimon an item, and then Shimon's item becomes Reuven's? Or does Shimon give Reuven an item, and then the other item of Reuven becomes Reuven's? The other item of Shimon becomes Reuven's. Rav Omar B'Keilav Shel Koina. Reuven wants to buy wants to swap an item of Shimon, so he gives Shimon an item, let's say a cloth, and then Shimon's item becomes Reuven's. Why? The Nichele de la Koina, the Reuven who's buying this item of Shimon, he's happy the lehave makne Koina, that the one who's going to be makne to him should be Koina the item that he's giving to him, ke'ech de ligma veliknele, kedei, that Shimon should be makne to him the item that Reuven wants to buy. So lefi Rav, it's very simple. It's chalipim. It's a swap. Reuven gives Shimon, and Shimon gives Reuven. The Levi Omano. Redi says a big chiddush. B'keilov shel makne. Shimon, who's makne the item to Reuven, he also gives another item that with that the kinyan schal, a piece of cloth or whatever it is, and then Reuven does a kinyan in that, and with that he's koine the other item. Like we're going to say in a few lines down, we're going to explain what's a svar in that. It's not really a swap. It's agav. Agav, you're coining one item, you're coining another item. Omale Rav Huna midis karotelerova ule Levi the Omar B'Keilav shel makne lefi Levi. That's the one who's giving the item. He also gives another item, and with that the kinyan schal hoko koni agav glima. We know that kinyan chalipin can work also on karka. That means that Shimon has a karka and he wants to makne to Reuven, so you could do chalipim on that karka. And Lefi Levi, who gives the cloth to do the kinyan? Shimon gives the cloth to Reuven. So it comes out that Agav, this cloth, this item, this metaltelim, Reuven's koina, the karka. Im kain, if so, avali nechosim sheyesh lehem achrayis. It comes out that nechosim that have achrayis, that means karka. V'niknim, and it's nikna in nechosim sheyesh lehem achrayis. Agav, this cloth that Shimon gives to Reuven, you're koina also the karka. V'anon ipchetnan, we learned a Mishnah, opposite, clear Mishnah that says the opposite. It says nechosim sheyesh lehem achrayis, metaltelim, niknim in nechosim sheyesh lehem achrayis, can be bought kinyan agav with nechosim sheyesh lehem achrayis. That means with karka. That means when I buy a karka, I could be koina agav that also metaltelim. And here you're telling me the opposite, that agav metaltelim you're koina karka. Oh malay, so he told him, if Levi would be here, he would do to you pulsa denura. He'd throw fire on you, meaning he'd put you in cherem because he didn't understand what Levi said. Mi sovras glima maknele. Did you think that Shimon gives him the glima, and with that is koina the karka, and it's like a type of agav metaltelim you koina karka? No. Bayanodo komikaba minei goma vraknele. When Shimon gives Reuven this glima, and Reuven's koiner it, that's enough for Shimon. Oh, Reuven is willing to accept from you a present, this glima. Oh, no, I'm willing to be makna the karka. So it's not kinin agav, it's kinin chalipim. The ano is Reuven giving Shimon ano by him being willing to be koiner this item, the metaltelim, and for swap for that ano, Shimon's makna him the karka. So it's a swap. So bein Rav, bein Levi, it's a swap. The question is, Lefi Rav, it's a simple swap. Reuven gives Shimon an item, and the Mimela, Shimon's item becomes Reuven. And Lefi Levi, no, Shimon gives Reuven an item, and with that no, that Reuven accepts it, that he's giving a no to Shimon, and with that no, Shimon's makna the other item, and therefore it's a chalipin. Said the Gemara, the shaila with whose koilim or yukoina is ketanoy, it's a machlokes ketanoy, because it says v'zois leponim beYisrael. I'll just be makdim and say it's talking about Boaz and Rus needed to be done yibum to, and there was a Korov who was closer to her than Boaz, and this Korov did not want to do yibum because he was choishesh, because she was moyavis, amoinis, and wasn't sure that it's mutter, so he didn't want to do this kinyan. So he had the first right to get all the nechosim of the mace of the ex-husband, the husband who passed away of Rus, and he didn't want to do it. So Boaz was koine from him this right that he could, because he was the next Korov, that he should be able to do this kinyan. So it says in the pasuk of the Yisrael, this is a law by Jewish people, ala geula v'ala Tmura lekaim kol dova sholav ishnalei v'nosan l'reiyu. And from there we learn kinyan chalipin, that with a shoe you could do chalipin. So we learn geula, what does that mean? The mechira, that you could do. If I want to buy an item of someone with money, with a normal sale, we could do a kinyan chalipin on a cloth, and the mechira schal. V'cheinu oima, where do we see that geula means mechira? It says lo yigoel, and it means it shouldn't be bought back. Tomorrow, when it says in the pasuk, tomorrow means uchalipi, means the normal case of swapping. So we could see lo yachlifeno, it's a swap. Lo yamir, so we could see yamir and tomorrow means a swap. Lekayim kol dovo, to mikayim anything. Sholaf ishnalo even often arei minosanemi, it says in the brisa. Boaz, who was trying to buy the schusim of the goyel for this other goyel, nosan a goyel. So that's lefi Rav. That's this time it holds like Rav, that you do a proper swap. Rabbi Yehuda no, goyel nosan le Boaz. That's like Levi, the bekelov shel makne, that both items come from the one who wants to be makne the chayfetz, and therefore we can see the machlokes Rav and Levi is a machlokes Tanakama and Rabbi Yehuda. Says the Gemara, Tana. We learned in the Brisa, koinim bekeli afal pi she'en bo yishover pruta. You could do chalipin even if the keli that you're doing the chalipin with doesn't have a value of a shover pruta. Amar Rav Nachman lo yishanu elo bekeli. You could only do chalipin if it's a keli. Avo beperi, if it's fruit that's not considered a keli, loy. We had this machlokes earlier, but here it's brought down. Rav Sheshes Omar afilu beperes, even beperes you could do chalipin. My time under Rav Nachman. What's the reason of Rav Nachman that you can't do chalipin with peres? Omar Kra, it says in the pasuk naloi, it says a shoe, nal in, a shoe yes, midarchineloi, something that's not keli like a shoe, is you can't do chalipin. My time in the Rav Sheshes that you could do chalipin on peres. Omar Kra, lekayim kol dova, it says with anything you could do it. So he comes to tell you that even you could do with peres. Ask the Gemara, Rav Nachman, Ami Aksiv Lekayim Kol Dova Lechura also said in the pasuk that you could do with everything. So the Gemara, Lekayim Kol Dova Deniknim B'minol. Rav Nachman holds it means Lekayim Kol Dova. It's not talking about to do the kinyan chalipim with Kol Dova or even with metaltalim, even with peres. No, you could do only with a keli, like a shoe. But once you do the chalipim with a shoe, what could you be maknu with the shoe? You could do anything, even peres. That means even Rav Nachman that holds chalipin, you can't do with peres, but you could be makne with peres with chalipin if it's with a keli. If you do the kinyan on a keli, connected that, you could be makne peres. Rav Sheshes nami aksiv na'aloi lechor, it says a shoe, and a shoe is not peres. Or Rav Sheshes, when it says na'aloi, it's coming to tell you, man na'aloi, like a shoe, dova mesuyim, it's something specific, it's a whole thing. Af kol davar mesuyim, also anything that's specific, it's full. Lafuke to exclude chetzi rima in half a pomegranate, the chetzi ego is half a nut. There has to be a full item. You can't do a half a fruit or half a shoe. So we come to a conclusion that the machlokes, can you do meshichon peres and do chalipin and makne something else? Rav Sheshes says you can, and Rav Nachman says you can't. But everyone agrees that if you do a meshicha on a shoe, you can be makne peres with that meshicha. Omar Rav Sheshes Beredi Rav Idi Kiman Kaspina Naidna. Who do we write like today when we write a star chalipin? We write bimono with a keli, the kosher that's kosher lemikne to be koinebe. It. So why is this coming to tell you? Bimono, when it says in a keli lafukim with Rav Sheshes, it's coming to tell you not like Rav Sheshes doma koinim beperes that you could do kini chalipin beperes. It says no, the keli has to be a keli. The kosher, it's coming to lafukim in the shmul to exclude the din of shmul. The omar koinim memzaino on beitza, he said you could do a kinyan b'meroika, a keli that's made from the waste, from the manure of an animal. They made a keli, so it's not kosher. It's not considered kosher. So you can't do that. We don't do like shmul. Lemikne, that it says to be koina, lafukim de Levi, it's coming to exclude Levi. Doma bekelev shel makne. Levi said that the one who's makne the chayfetz also gives the chayfetz that we do the kinyan on. To come, so here it says lemikne to tell you not like that. Komash malon lemikne velo leknuye bei. No, that it's a swap. That I give an item and I get an item back. Not that the same person gives both items. Rav Papa velo leknuye. Bay, what when it said bay, when you write in a star of chalipim bay, why is it coming to tell you Rapapa or malumuti matbea? It's coming to exclude the matbea, you can't do chalipin. Rav Zvid veitim Rav Ashi Oma limuti asorano, that you can't do chalipin on something that's a chomet shoval of a pesach, you can't do with chalipin. Ikedamri, some people learn it different. Bay, everyone agree Omar Papa lumuti matbea, it's coming to exclude matbea. The kosher, but the word the kosher, no, it's not coming to exclude what we said of shmul, a keli that's made out of the waste of an animal. No, Omar Zid veitim Rav Ashi limuti asorano, that asorano is not kosher, and therefore you can't do chalipim. And you don't learn it from bay, you learn it from kosher. Avol merika, by a keli that's made out of waste of an animal, loitztrich. You don't need to be mad. It's obvious that you can't do chalipin with that, even though the Shmuel says you could. Okay, now we're going back to the Mishnah. We learned in the Mishnah Simoin, and now we're going to see in the Gemara what a Simoin means. If I do Meshicha and a Simoin and I want to give it for that a coin, you could do chalipin that way. Maya Simoin. What does a Simoin mean? Omar Rav, Mois anitonois b'simon beis hamerchetz. When a person would go to the bathhouse, he'd give the person who's in charge some coin that's not very good, not a good coin, that he should know that he's there, that he should prepare him a towel, and that depends how many coins he has, he knows how much water to warm up. So a coin means, so when we're saying now a simon means a type of bad coin. We have a cash on that. It says, if you want to take Paris and Maisa Sheni to Yerushalayim, and you don't want to take the Paris, you want to change on money, and you want to swap it on money, so you're not allowed to be mechalel it ala simon. Veloy, and another thing, al mois and itonis besimin, the Beis HaMerchatz are not for a coin. They use it as a simin in Beis HaMerchatz to prepare towels and warm up the water. Michlal, since it says two things, the simon and mois and itonis, the simin Beis HaMerchatz, we could see that simon lav mois and itonis besimin Beis HaMerchatz. That's two separate things. The chitim, and if you're going to tell me Perusha Komifarish, it says a simon and then it explains what does a simon mean, mois and itonis Beis HaMerchatz. So the Gemara he doesn't say that in the other. We're going to bring another brayso that says clearly not like that. It says Michaleli Ma'aser Sheni ala Simon. This brayso holds you allowed to Michal Ma'aser Sheni ala Simon. Divrei Rav Doiso. That's Shittas Rav Doiso. The Chachamim remain Michalelim. You can't. The Shavim and Rav Doiso and Chachamim agree. She'ein Michalelim that you're not allowed to Almois and Itonas Tzim Beis HaMerchatz. And now you can't be Mechalel. So it says very clearly that Simon and Mois and Itonis Beis HaMerchatz are two separate things. So when it says in our Mishnah Simon, what does a Simon mean? Elamar Rabbi Yochanan, my Simon, what does a Simon mean? Pulsa, it means a coin that they never yet put on it the stemple. They never put on it the shape of the king. And that's a Simon. Like we explained already in the Mishnah. It doesn't mean a bad coin that you use in Beis HaMerchatz. So the Gemara, as the Rabbi Yochanan goes lefi his shitta that he holds that simon means something that doesn't have a tzura on it. The Amar Rabbi Yochanan said, Rabbi Doisa, Rabbi Shmuel, Amar Deva Echad, Rabbi Doisa and Rabbi Shmuel hold the same shitta. Who is this Rabbi Doisa? Rabbi Doisa had Arman, what we said before, that you could be Michal and Maisa Sheni on a simon. And Rabbi Shmuel Mahi, why is Rabbi Shmuel? The Tanya, we learned in the brayso of you should take the money in your hand when you go up to your shlaim, that you change this money on Ma'aser Sheni. The rabbis, it's coming to include that you could be Mechalel Ma'aser Sheni, Kol Dova, Nitzur B'yad, anything that you could take in your hand. Divrei Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Akiva Omer, no. The rabbis, Kol Dova Sheishal of Tzura, any coin that has on their shape. So we could see Rabbi Shmuel who holds that even though they doesn't have a shape, who argues on Rabbi Akiva and holds Kol Dova Nitzur B'yad, holds that you could do it even something without a shape. And Rabbi Yochanan holds that Rav Doisa and Rabbi Shmuel said the same thing. It must be Rav Doisa said a siman, it means something without a shape on it. So we could say it's Rabbi Yochanan Tamei, that Rabbi Yochanan holds that siman means something without a shape. So very good, we know what means a siman in the Mishnah. It means a coin without a shape on it. We went to the Mishnah, Keitza, and Moshe Chimene Peres, V'lo Nosan Lemois, Inu Yochol Achzer Boy. If you did Meshicha on the Peres, even if you didn't do Meshicha on the Mois, the Kinen's Chal. But the opposite, if you did Meshicha on the Mois and on the Peres, the Kinen's no Chal. Why not? So we already explained this, but here, this is the Makor where we explain the Mishnah, why Mois and Koinos. Omer Rabbi Yochanan, Dvar Torah from Midoraisa Mois Koinos. If I give someone money for an item, even though I didn't do Meshicha on the item, it's a Kinyan, and this item becomes mine. And what's the reason why we say Meshicha Koina, that Meshicha's Koina are not Mois Gzera? Because we have a Gzera, Shemar Yoima Lo Nisur Fochutecha Ba'aliyah. If Reuven gives Shimon money, and the Kinyan would be Chal, and Shimon has the wheat, and then there's the fire, so he's not going to save it, and therefore Reuven's going to lose the wheat. So we make a Gzera, that the Mois Enu Koina is only Meshicha. Ask the Gemara, soif, at the end of the day, man the Shodat Leika, the one who lit the fire in the attic, boy Shlumi, he should have to pay because he's a mazik. So the Gemara, Elo Gzera, the Gzera is Shema Tipol Leika Ba'oines, maybe a fire will happen Ba'oines where you don't have to pay. And therefore, Imuk Muslu Burushu say, if we say Shimon who sold this chitim to Reuven, it's still in his Rishus. And if it goes up in price, he could change his mind. Mosa Nafshe, he's gonna do all he can, Torach, and he will be Torach Umatzin and save this wheat that should still be in his Rishus and shouldn't get destroyed. V'loi, if we say already, if Mois Koines and this chitim belong to Reuven, Loi Mosa Nafshe, he won't cash him and will say, okay, it's Reuven's chitim, it's getting burnt, I'm not going to do anything about it. Loi Mosa Nafshe, he won't do anything, and Torach Matzil, and he won't save it. So therefore, really, Mois Koines Midoraisa. But Rabbanon will go there that Mois Enim Koines only Meshicha. And Rish Lakish argues, Rish Lakish Amar Meshicha Mefureshes Min Torah. No, the Torah says that the way you do a kinyan is Meshicha, no of Mois, and Mois does not work Min Torah. It doesn't work Bichlal. No Min Torah, no the Rabbanon. My time with the Rish Lakish, what's the time of Rish Lakish? Where do we learn in the Torah that Meshicha works? Omar Kro, it says, if someone is buying something, or he buys from the hand of his friend, so Rish Lakish learns, what's miyad hamisecha? Something that's bought from hand to hand. And why is that? Something that you do meshicha. Something that you do meshicha. So the Torah tells you how does the kinyan work with meshicha, not with mois. And therefore, midiraisa mois seinem koinos. Rabbi Yochanan Omar no. Miyad. When it says miyad, it's lemiute karka. That pasuk is telling you about oino. It's telling you that only oino something that you could pass over one from hand to hand, and that's only metaltalim. But karka that you can't pass hand to hand because it stays in one place. The less no, it's coming to tell you that something that's not metaltalim, that's karka, there's no din oino. Rish Lakish, how will he learn that karka there's no din oino on it? In Lichtov Kro, the pasuk should say v'chitim kurumim kamiyad hamisecha al toinu. The pasuk should say this lashon v'chitim kur when you're buying something memkar from your friend, and it says miyad al toinu oikono. Why did it say the extra thing oikono? Why is it coming to include lomoli shmamino lemeshicha? It's coming to tell you this extra din. The meshicha is koina me'atorah. Rabbi Yochanan, oikono my ovidlei. What do you learn from the extra words of oikono? L'chora Rish Lakish is right that it's extra. So the Gemara we need it for the brisa, for what we learned in the brisa. It says v'chitim kurmim kar al toinu ein li elo shenisan eloikeach. I know that if Reuben sold something to Shimon, there's a din oino if he sold it to Shimon for too expensive. Nisana moicha, if the moicha sold it for too cheap, and the coiner persuaded him to sell it for too cheap, how do we know that there's a din oino? Minayin Talmud loima oikona, from the pasuk that it says oikona, or from buying that it's extra. It's coming to tell you that oino works both ways, also from the moicha and also from the loikeach. Talmud loima oikono al toinu. Rish Lakish tarti gomar minei. He learns both. Also that oino works both ways on moicha and the loikeach, and also the din that we said before that meshicha works. And Rashi explains because he should have put miyad in a different place of the pasuk. The reason why we used it in this place in the pasuk to tell you that kinyan works with meshicha. Now, we learned in our Mishnah, Rab Shimon oima kol shakesef b'yodoi yodol elyoino. Rab Shimon says that if Reuben gave Shimon money and for item and he didn't do meshicha on item, so the moicha Shimon could change his mind. Says the Gemara, moicha u'demotzi odabei. That means only Shimon the moicha could change his mind. Loikeach lo motzi odabei, but the loikeach Reuven, who's buying it, he can't change his mind. He can't say, I want my money back. No, Shimon could force him to take the item. Says the Gemara, if you're going to tell me mois koinois, midaraisa mois works, like Rabbi Yochanan, mishum achi moiche motzi adabei, loikeach lo motzi adabei. It makes sense that and we make a takana Shemon Nisifruchtecho Ba'aliyah, so it makes sense that the loikeach, we keep it on the raisa that it works. But the moicha, we say no, that it should still stay in his rishus. So if it goes up in price, he could be choyze boy, and therefore he'll save it from the fire. It makes sense that the moicha could be choyze boy, but the lekach can't be choyze boy, because really there was a kinyan over here. But we make a special takana that the moicha could still be choyze boy. Elo yomras, but if you hold like Rish Lakish, amois inim koinois, that there's no such a thing as mois koinois from the Torah, loikeach nami lahadabei. Why should the loikeach be choyze boy? For sure the loikeach, he did no kinyan whatsoever. Why can't the loikeach change his mind? There's no kinyan happened. Omar Rish Lakish, says Rish Lakish a turret in this kasha. Ali b'der Rab Shimon loikamina. I was not talking about lefishitis Rab Shimon. Kikar minaloch. When did I say that meshichas koina no mois? Ali b'der Rabbanon. Lefi Rabbanon who hold that both could be choiza, because the Rabbanon hold there's no such a din of kinyan mois. But enochinami lefi Rab Shimon, there is such a thing din kinyan mois ma'Torah, and Rabbanon was the one who said mois enum koina only meshicha. Says the Gemara, Bishleim and Rish Lakish, Lefi Rish Lakish, Haine Dike bin Rab Shimon Rabbanon. We understand what's a machloikis. Rabbanon hold mois einum koinos, and therefore they both could be choiza. And Rab Shimon holds mois koinos, and Rabbanon made takana, so Rabbanon only made the takana on the moicha, and therefore that shittas Rab Shimon, and we understand very good what's a machlokes between Rab Shimon and Rabbanon, all mois koinos midiraisa or not. Elo Rabbi Yochanan ma'ike ben Rab Shimon and Rabbanon. What's the reason of the machlokes that Rab Shimon holds only the moicha could be choiza, and Rabbanon hold both could be choiza? So the Gemara Ika Benayu the Rav Chisda, the choilek, the machlokes to Rav Shimon and Rabbanon, do we hold of Rav Chisda? The Omer Rav Chisda, like Rav Chisda said, Kederek shetikne meshicha b'moichrin, like they made a special takana for the moicha, that until they don't do meshicha, the moicha could be choiza. Kach tikne meshicha b'lekuchos. That's the way they also made the takana that even lekuchos could be choiza if they didn't do meshicha. Because to make it this takana, because really mois koines midiraisa, but kedei that she shouldn't say nisipruchitecha ba'aliyah, it's much better that even the loikech could be choiza, because then if there's a fire, the Shimon will save this fire, the moicha will save it from the fire, not only because if it goes up in price he could change his mind, because if not, the koine is going to say, no, I'm changing my mind, I don't want it, the takana is even stronger. So Rab Shimon, lest the Rav Chisda, doesn't hold that they made this takana so strong, and therefore only the moicha could be choize boy. Rabbanon Isra the Rav Chisda, that he holds of Rav Chisda that they made the takana so strong that even the moicha can't, even the loikeach could change his mind, and therefore Rabbanon hold that bein the loikeach and bein the moicha could be choize beim. Shkoyach.